Marcus Webb had made many questionable decisions in his 32 years, but renting an apartment on an alien space station without seeing it first might top the list. He stood outside Unit 847, his single travel case at his feet, and pressed the intercom with a finger that trembled slightly from exhaustion and nerves. The door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a woman who made Marcus forget how to breathe properly. She was tall, nearly matching his 6-foot frame, with skin that shimmered like sunlight on water, shifting between shades of deep blue and silver. Her hair cascaded past her shoulders in waves that seemed to move independently, like silk caught in an invisible breeze. But it was her eyes that captured him, most large and luminous, the color of molten gold with vertical pupils that contracted as they focused on him. "You must be the human tenant," she said, her voice having a musical quality that made his spine tingle. "I am Thessaly, keeper of this dwelling. Please enter." Marcus grabbed his case and stepped inside, trying not to stare. The apartment was stunning, all flowing curves and bioluminescent panels that cast a gentle blue-green glow throughout the space. Strange but beautiful plants grew in wall-mounted containers, their leaves pulsing with light. "This is incredible," Marcus breathed, momentarily forgetting his exhaustion. "Thank you for accepting my application, Thessaly. I'm Marcus Webb." He extended his hand, a gesture he realized too late might not translate across species. But Thessaly regarded his hand with curious interest, reaching out to touch his palm with her fingertips. Her skin was surprisingly warm, almost hot, and textured with tiny scales that felt like velvet. "A greeting ritual?" she asked, tilting her head. "How charming. Your species has such fascinating customs." Yeah. A handshake. It's just, polite." Marcus felt heat creeping up his neck. Why was he suddenly tongue-tied? Thessaly smiled, and Marcus noticed her teeth were small and pearl white, perfectly human-looking, despite everything else about her being decidedly not. "Come, let me show you your quarters. You must be weary from your journey." She led him through the main living space, her movements graceful and fluid. She wore a garment that seemed to be made of living fabric, shifting colors as she moved, draping her form in ways that Marcus determinedly tried not to notice. His room was smaller than the common area, but still generous by station standards. A large window offered a view of the swirling nebula beyond the station, a vista of purples and golds that took his breath away. "The cleansing chamber is through there," Thessaly said, gesturing to a doorway. "I should inform you that on my world, we have different concepts regarding privacy and body shame. It is not uncommon for—" "I'll figure it out," Marcus interrupted quickly, his face burning. "Thank you. I just need to clean up and maybe sleep for about 16 hours. Thessaly's golden eyes studied him with what seemed like amusement. "Of course. I will prepare a meal for when you wake. Do you have dietary restrictions?" "I can eat most things." "Thank you, really. You're very kind." After she left, Marcus stood in the center of his new room, trying to process the last 10 minutes. His landlady was gorgeous, alien, and apparently very interested in human customs. This was either going to be the best year of his life or the most awkward. The cleansing chamber turned out to be more intuitive than he'd feared, a shower of sorts, though the water seemed to come from nowhere and disappeared just as mysteriously. Marcus stripped off his travel-stained clothes and stepped under the warm spray with a groan of relief. He'd been under the water for maybe 3 minutes when the door opened. "Marcus Webb. I forgot to mention that the temperature control is O." Marcus yelped, spinning around and grabbing for something, anything, to cover himself. His hands found only air. Thessaly stood in the doorway, her golden eyes wide and fixed decidedly south of his face. "Stars and void," she whispered. "What is that appendage?" "It's called a penis." Marcus shouted, his voice cracking embarrassingly. And do you mind? A penis, she repeated slowly, as if testing the word. She took a step closer, head tilted in scientific curiosity. It looks like a small sand serpent. Does it bite? What? No. It doesn't, please. Can you just privacy? Privacy, yes. Thessaly blinked as if remembering herself. Apologies. Among my people, bodies are not sources of shame. We view them as simply vessels for our consciousness. But I understand humans have different taboos. I will respect this. She paused. Though I am curious about the function of such an organ. It's for reproduction, Marcus gritted out through clenched teeth, using both hands now in a futile attempt at modesty. Can we please have this conversation when I'm dressed? Of course. But Thessaly didn't move immediately. It is considered attractive by your species? What some people, this is the worst conversation I've ever had. Thessaly's lips curved into a smile that seemed almost mischievous. I meant no offense. I find it ... intriguing. Human biology is so different from ours. I look forward to learning more about your species. Marcus Webb. She left then, the door sliding shut behind her, and Marcus stood under the spray feeling like he'd just survived some kind of test he hadn't studied for. When he finally emerged, dressed in clean clothes with his dignity somewhat restored, he found Thessaly in the main living area. She'd set out an array of dishes on a low table, the food creating a rainbow of colors and releasing scents that made his stomach growl. Please sit, she invited, patting the cushion beside her. I hope you will forgive my intrusion earlier. I am still learning about human sensibilities. Marcus settled onto the cushion, maintaining what he hoped was a respectful distance. It's okay. Cultural differences, right? I should have locked the door. There are no locks in Valerian homes, Thessaly said, serving him a portion of something that looked like purple rice. We believe barriers between dwelling mates create mistrust. That's very trusting of you. We prefer harmony to isolation. She met his eyes, and Marcus felt his breath catch again at the intensity of her gaze. I hope we can achieve harmony, you and I. Marcus took a bite of food to avoid responding immediately. The flavors exploded on his tongue, sweet, savory, with a hint of something like cinnamon. This is amazing, he said honestly. Thessaly's pleased smile made something warm bloom in his chest. I am glad. So tell me, Marcus Webb, what brings a human to our station? As they ate, Marcus found himself relaxing despite the earlier awkwardness. Thessaly was easy to talk to, her curiosity about Earth and human culture genuine and infectious. He told her about his work as an aerospace engineer, about the project that had brought him to Meridian 7, about his family back on Earth. And romance? Thessaly asked as they finished the meal. Do you have a mate waiting for you? Marcus nearly choked on his drink. No mate. No girlfriend. I've been focused on work. Focused on work, she repeated thoughtfully. This is common for your species? To deny oneself companionship in pursuit of achievement? I wouldn't say deny exactly. Just ... Prioritize differently. Thessaly's golden eyes seemed to see right through him. Lonely, then. The word hung in the air between them. Marcus wanted to deny it, but found he couldn't. Maybe a little, he admitted quietly. I understand, Thessaly said softly. I too have prioritized duty over connection. It is why I rent portions of my dwelling to not be entirely alone with my thoughts. Something shifted in that moment, a recognition passing between them. Two people from different worlds, both seeking something they couldn't quite name. Well, Marcus said, trying to lighten the suddenly heavy atmosphere, at least we can be not alone together. Thessaly's laugh was like music. Yes, I think I would like that very much, Marcus Webb. As he retired to his room that night, Marcus lay in the strange bed, looking out at the nebula, and wondered what he'd gotten himself into. His landlady was beautiful, kind, fascinating, and apparently very comfortable with nudity. This was definitely going to be interesting. Marcus had been living on Station Meridian 7 for 2 weeks, and he still wasn't used to waking up to the sight of a purple and gold nebula outside his window. He also wasn't used to sharing morning meals with a beautiful alien woman who asked the most unexpected questions. So the penis becomes enlarged during mating? Thessaly asked casually over breakfast, as if discussing the weather. Marcus choked on his synthetic coffee. Thessaly, please, is this still a taboo subject? She looked genuinely puzzled, her golden eyes wide with innocence. You said we could discuss human reproduction after you were clothed. You are currently very clothed. She had a point. Marcus had made the mistake of agreeing to answer her questions about human biology, thinking she'd ask about things like digestion or sleep cycles. Instead, Thessaly seemed fixated on what she called the mating appendage. It's just not typical breakfast conversation, Marcus explained, feeling his face heat up. Even among humans who are comfortable with each other. How strange. Among Valerians, we discuss all bodily functions openly. It is simply science. She took a delicate bite of the fruit-like substance on her plate. But I will respect your customs. Perhaps tonight, when we are more comfortable? The way she said comfortable made Marcus's pulse quicken in a way that had nothing to do with embarrassment. Maybe, he managed. So, what are your plans today? Thessaly's face lit up. I thought I might show you the cultural marketplace. You have been working constantly since your arrival. You should experience more of the station. Marcus had been buried in work, partly because the project demanded it, and partly because spending too much time alone with Thessaly was doing dangerous things to his focus. But the hopeful look in her golden eyes made it impossible to refuse. That sounds great. Give me 20 minutes to get ready. The marketplace turned out to be a sensory wonderland. Dozens of species mingled in the vast space, their stalls offering everything from food to technology to art. The air hummed with a dozen different languages, and the scents ranged from delicious to utterly bizarre. Thessaly moved through the crowd with easy confidence, her hair catching the light and drawing admiring glances from several aliens. Marcus noticed he wasn't the only one who found her beautiful, and he felt an unexpected surge of something that might have been jealousy. Marcus Webb, look at this, Thessaly called, pulling him toward a stall filled with crystalline sculptures. She held up one that seemed to capture light and refract it into rainbow patterns. Is this not magnificent? It's beautiful, Marcus agreed, but he was watching her face. The way wonder transformed her already stunning features into something breathtaking. You are staring, she observed without looking at him, a smile playing at her lips. Sorry, you really love beautiful things, don't you? Does not everyone? She set the crystal down carefully and turned to face him. Beauty is one of the universal languages. It transcends species, culture, even time. Do you not agree? I do, Marcus said softly, and realized he wasn't talking about the crystals anymore. Thessaly's pupils dilated, a response Marcus had learned meant heightened emotion in Valerians. Before either of them could say more, a voice interrupted. Thessaly, by the void, is that really you? A male Valerian approached, taller than Thessaly, with darker blue skin and silver markings along his arms. His hair was shorter, almost like a human's cut, and he wore expensive-looking garments that spoke of wealth or status. Joran, Thessaly said, and Marcus didn't miss the sudden tension in her posture. What a surprise! A surprise indeed. You've been avoiding the markets for months. Joran's golden eyes flicked to Marcus with undisguised curiosity. And who is your companion? This is Marcus Webb, my tenant. Marcus, this is Joran, Neighbor from my building. The way she hesitated over neighbor told Marcus there was more to the story. Joran's smile confirmed it polite on the surface, but with an edge underneath. A human tenant. How progressive of you, Thessaly. Joran's tone made progressive sound like an insult. I'd heard you were renting to off-worlders now. Times must be difficult. My financial situation is stable, thank you, Thessaly said coolly. Marcus is here on business with the station. I'm simply being a gracious host. Of course. Joran's eyes traveled over Marcus with barely concealed disdain. Though I wonder what others in the building will think. You know how traditional some can be about. Interspecies mingling. Marcus felt his jaw clench. Is there a problem with humans on this station? Not at all, Joran said smoothly. We welcome all species. But there are proper boundaries. You understand. Professional relationships should remain professional. Joran, that's enough, Thessaly said sharply. My relationships are my own concern? Relationships? Joran's eyebrows rose. We are moving quickly. How long has he been living with you? 2 weeks? 3? This conversation is over. Thessaly took Marcus's arm firmly. Enjoy your shopping, Joran. She steered Marcus away before he could say something he'd regret. They walked in silence for several minutes before Marcus finally spoke. Old boyfriend? Thessaly sighed. Is it that obvious? We courted for several seasons years ago. It ended badly. He believed I should conform to more traditional Valerian standards. I disagreed. Traditional standards meaning what exactly? Meaning, Thessaly said carefully, that some Valerians believe our species should maintain genetic purity, that we should not form close bonds with other species, especially not romantic ones. Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach. And you don't believe that? Thessaly stopped walking and turned to face him fully. They'd wandered to a quieter section of the marketplace, away from the main crowds. I believe connection transcends biology. That love, if it is genuine, cannot be limited by something as arbitrary as species. Love, Marcus repeated, his heart hammering. Hypothetically speaking, Thessaly added quickly, but her cheeks had darkened to a deeper blue blush. Marcus realized, right, hypothetically. Marcus stepped closer, drawn by something he couldn't name. For what it's worth, I think Joran's an idiot. Anyone would be lucky to have you. Thessaly's breath caught audibly. Marcus. Thessaly. There you are. They jumped apart as another Valerian approached, this one female, younger than Thessaly, with lighter blue skin and an exuberant energy that made her seem to bounce as she walked. Nix, Thessaly said, and this time her tone was warm. I did not expect to see you today. I took leave from my studies. The young woman Nix apparently threw her arms around Thessaly in an enthusiastic embrace. I missed you, sister. Sister. Marcus felt the pieces click into place as the two women separated, and Nix's curious golden eyes fixed on him. And who is this? Nix asked with undisguised interest. A human. How exciting. Are you the tenant Thessaly mentioned in her messages? That's me. Marcus Webb. He offered his hand, and Nix grabbed it with both of hers, shaking enthusiastically. A hand greeting. I have read about these. This is wonderful. She turned to Thessaly without releasing Marcus's hand. Sister, he is very attractive for a human. I have seen images in databases, but they do not do the species justice. Such interesting proportions. Nix. Thessaly's face had gone even darker blue. What? I am merely making observations. Oh, Nix's eyes widened. Am I being inappropriate? Human cultures have many rules about compliments and appearance, yes. I apologize if I have caused offense, Marcus Webb. No offense taken, Marcus assured her, amused despite himself. Thank you. I think, Nix beamed at him before turning back to her sister. I like him. He may stay. He's my tenant, not a pet, Thessaly said dryly. But her lips twitched with suppressed amusement. Yes, yes. Your tenant. Nix made exaggerated air quotes with her fingers. A gesture Marcus was surprised to see translated across species. Come, you must both have lunch with me. I want to hear everything about Earth, and also about why my sister's skin changes color whenever she looks at you. Marcus Webb. It does not. Thessaly started to protest. But Nix was already pulling them both toward a nearby restaurant. Lunch was simultaneously delightful and torturous. Nix was a whirlwind of questions and observations, her youthful enthusiasm infectious. But she also seemed determined to point out every lingering glance between Marcus and Thessaly, every moment of synchronized movement, every instance of what she called obvious mutual attraction. You should see them at the dwelling, Nix said conspiratorially to Marcus, though her voice carried easily to Thessaly. She speaks of you constantly. Marcus Webb said the most interesting thing about Earth gravity today. Marcus Webb helped me repair the climate control. Marcus Webb has very kind eyes. I do not say these things. Thessaly protested weakly. You absolutely do, Nix countered. It is adorable. And Marcus Webb clearly finds you equally fascinating, given how he cannot stop staring at you. Marcus felt his face burn. I'm just appreciating Valerian culture. Is that what you call it? Nix's grin was wicked. How diplomatic. By the time they finished eating, Marcus felt like he'd been through an interrogation disguised as lunch. But Nix's playful teasing had brought something into the open that both he and Thessaly had been dancing around. As they walked Nix back to her transport hub, the younger Valerian pulled Thessaly aside for a whispered conversation. Marcus pretended to study a nearby directory, but he caught fragments of their exchange. ... obviously care for him. ... double quotes, too complicated. ... life is short. Sister ... double quotes, this is a species. ... since when has that stopped you from anything? When they rejoined him, Thessaly's expression was thoughtful, almost vulnerable. Nix hugged them both goodbye, whispering something to Marcus that sounded like, take care of her. The walk back to the apartment was quiet, but it was a comfortable silence, full of things unsaid. As they entered the dwelling, and the door slid shut behind them, Thessaly finally spoke. My sister is very perceptive, she said, not quite meeting his eyes. Sometimes too perceptive. She seems great. Very energetic. She is also very direct about things I prefer to keep private. Marcus took a chance. Like feelings? Thessaly turned to face him fully, her golden eyes searching his. Yes, like feelings that complicate what should be a simple landlady-tenant arrangement. Feelings that Joran and others would see as inappropriate or even wrong. And what do you see them as? Marcus asked, stepping closer. Terrifying, Thessaly whispered. But also ... inevitable. I have tried not to feel this way, Marcus Webb. You have been living here for only 2 weeks. It is illogical and impractical, and potentially disastrous for both of us. But? Marcus prompted, now close enough to see the rapid pulse at her throat. But I cannot seem to help it. Her hand came up to rest against his chest, just over his heart. Is this madness? To want someone so different from myself? Marcus covered her hand with his own. If it is, then we're both mad. Because I feel the same way. The complications, I know. The cultural differences, I know. Joran will spread rumors. Let him. Thessaly's breath hitched. You make it sound so simple. Maybe it is, Marcus said softly. Maybe we're the ones making it complicated. 2 people who like each other, who enjoy spending time together, who ... feels something neither of us expected. Does it have to be more complicated than that? In my experience, yes, Thessaly said, but she was leaning closer. Everything is always more complicated. Then let's start simple. Marcus brought his free hand up to cup her cheek, marveling at the warmth of her skin. Can I kiss you? Thessaly's eyes widened. That is a human courtship ritual, yes? The pressing of mouths together? Among other things. I have read about it, but never experienced ... She trailed off, her gaze dropping to his lips. Yes, please, show me. Marcus leaned in slowly, giving her time to change her mind. But Thessaly met him halfway, her eyes fluttering closed. As their lips met ... It was gentle at first, exploratory. Her lips were softer than he'd expected, warmer, and when she made a small sound in the back of her throat, Marcus felt it all the way to his toes. He deepened the kiss gradually, and Thessaly responded with surprising enthusiasm, her arms winding around his neck. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Thessaly's eyes were luminous with wonder. Oh, she breathed. Oh, I understand now why humans value this ritual. That was. Yeah, Marcus agreed, still holding her close. It really was. Thessaly smiled, radiant and unguarded in a way he'd never seen before. Again, she requested. Please. I believe I need more data for my research into human customs. Marcus laughed and pulled her close once more. For science, then. For science, she agreed against his lips. But they both knew it was so much more than that.